Welcome Facebook Live, Elyse Southwell here at Nasdaq MarketSite. For our first series called Nasdaq Disruptors, we have an awesome first guest. The one, the only, Jon Steinberg is our guest.
Yes.
So welcome.
President of BuzzFeed.
Okay.
And then CEO of Daily Mail North America, and then now Cheddar.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So, being that you were at BuzzFeed, you were at Daily Mail, now you're at Cheddar, what intrigued you about the news?
I guess that, I think of it as art. I really do. I think that I like creating something. I like lots of people seeing it, and I guess there's a fair amount of ego that goes into that, but I find it enormously satisfying to create something that a lot of people see. And I like the feedback. So there's a vanity in that, but there's also a desire to create something that's of value. I think there's easier ways to make money than media. I think if I just was interested purely in making money, I would probably be at a hedge fund. But I get genuine satisfaction from creating stuff. With Cheddar, when people tell me that they learn something every time they watch it, or they're exposed to new companies or new ideas, that's the most satisfying part of my professional life.
Cool. So can you tell us a little bit about Cheddar, what it is, when it launched?
At BuzzFeed, when we started leaning into what people called it, and we stopped trying to tell people what it was, everything sort of went our way. So I live by that. And people have called Cheddar, first the Wall Street Journal called us that, then everybody started calling us the CNBC for Millennials. And that's a hell of a thing to be called. So I'll go with that for now. We have broader aspirations. We just announced yesterday that we're opening up a studio in the corner of the Flatiron building where the Sprint store is. We're going to call that Cheddar Life. It's going to be sort of more lifestyle programming. But ultimately, we are a business technology and media news company.
Cool. So would you say that you yourself are a disruptor, given your background?
I like being disruptive. I mean, that's for sure. Yeah, I also get genuine satisfaction from stirring stuff up. And what's nice is that when you don't have anything, at BuzzFeed we didn't have anything when we got started. We were 15 people and we had a little bit of traffic and no revenue. You can really mess with the incumbents, and I like messing with incumbents. So
what would you say, I guess, would be a challenge at Cheddar, and I guess what's your day-to-day like?
Everything is a challenge, and it's at the end of every day you want to pull your hair out of your head and you're really dusted up, and then you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and go at it again the next day. So I think endurance and being a marathon runner is really what's key to this. Every day is filled with successes, things that are exciting, and then kind of failures and fallbacks and all sorts of things like that. So that's the hardest part of it all. And what we're doing now is incredibly logistically complex. We do a live show at 9:30 from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and from Nasdaq MarketSite. We're piped between the two places. We do that. Then we've got to go and produce that show again for the next day, as well as create new programming, sell advertising packages. And there's a tremendous amount of logistical complexity in terms of working with all the video production hardware, all the vendor relationships, all the data relationships, all the production graphics. It's more of running a factory than I've ever really been involved in.
Cool. So you mentioned some of the successes. Could you tell us about one success that you've had so far? I mean, obviously you're in the nascent stages, but.
I think the fact that the programming is resonating with so many people and that we're routinely getting 80 to 100,000 live viewers across the first hour, that's more success than I could have ever hoped from at this standpoint. And then look, every day, every show should be our best show. And on a day like today where we broke the story, we had Dan Roth from LinkedIn talking about their new video product. We had Catherine Minshaw, the founder of The Muse, which has raised, I think, $20 or $30 million, talking about her company. And we had Gwyneth Paltrow's company, Goop, on talking about their new makeup line, and we were all trying on the makeup. That level of variety, from a large market cap public company to a startup to a fun type thing, that's a show that I want every day, and I want right now 80 to 100,000 people to see that every day. I judge us by the last show. The last show has to be the best show. I got to be proud of the last show. That, and then Fidelity today was our first financial sponsor. We used the Fidelity app in the show to look up analyst ratings and quotes, and that was a breakthrough type of endorsement. When we were at BuzzFeed and we got GE to advertise for us the first time, that was an endorsement for that company. So I look for these victories every day.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Thanks.
So what would you say, I guess, how does it compare to running BuzzFeed and running Cheddar?
I don't ever look backwards. I really don't. I guess I do for learnings, but I get asked that question all the time, and I think it's all sort of the same and all very different. How does it compare? I think I learned a lot. I'm always having to up-level myself and kind of reinvent myself. So there's never that much to learn, as much as kind of, how do I go through that progression of discovering everything anew, I guess.
So here at Nasdaq, we love Cheddar.
Thank you. We love you guys.
Fabulous. So
Yes.
I think that
Krisha sits right up there. Krisha from my team, who is at CNBC, her booth, well, she's not up there now. She's typically in that booth.
No, but
We
you
always
see
get a
somebody,
nice
you
shot.
see somebody up there, though,
Oh,
right?
there's like, I think that's Bertha up there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No, good to know. I never knew that. So, okay, what do you think is going to happen with the future of the TV industry? I mean, I look at Cheddar. We love you guys. Obviously,
Yeah.
we look at you as a disruptor of the television industry. What do you think?
TV's over. It is period, end of sentence, over. The viewing audiences, especially for cable news, are 50 or 60 years old. Median viewer for Fox is 65 or 68. Median viewer for any of these networks is in their early 60s. And live video programming is undergoing a renaissance, whether it's Facebook or Roku or Twitter or Sling TV or all these different platforms. People want that programming, but nobody wants a crappy cable box.
Right.
It's a terrible experience. It's overpriced. It's finito. It is what happened to newspapers is happening to television now. And look, they make too much money. They make too much money, and it creates a passivity and a contentment that is ripe for someone like me who's got nothing to go after and just attack.
I don't know where I read it, maybe on Business Insider, but you said you do not see an 18-year-old kid coming out of college or 21-year-old kid coming out of college and calling up his local cable company and saying, hey, come install a cable box.
Right.
So you think that's true?
Well, do you?
I do.
You do?
But I
Really?
also have Apple TV. And
no, you do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You're not 18 to 20.
No,
do you see any?
Do I think that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't. I agree with you.
I've met with a lot of cable executives, and I've heard from a lot of them. They have an incredibly condescending attitude towards millennials. They refer to millennials as transient. I heard one cable CEO refer to millennials as basement dwellers.
Don't list any names.
Okay. I won't listen to names. And their view is when the millennials come out of the basements and they do household formation, they're going to get cable boxes. That's a myth that they tell themselves. And you know what? Most of these people are near retirement, and they don't really care because they're out the door with their retirement packages before this is their problem. I have two small children, 6 and 7 years old. They can use every piece of hardware in our home. They can use our Apple TVs. They can use our iPads. They are unable to operate a cable box. They're never going to want that in their home.
Yeah. No, then there is a generational shift going on. So,
I think
it
you
makes
got one
sense.
generation. I think you probably have one generation. You could argue maybe you've got two generations, but I think it's about it after that.
So 2 kids.
Yes.
Founder of Cheddar.
Yes.
Huge jobs before that.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy. What do you do for fun?
Well, I have 2 things in my life. I got my work and my family, and actually the orders, it's my family and my work. And Jill and I spend as much time as we can with the kids on the weekend, so it's typically family activities. Jill and I like to go out for dinner, and I love napping. Like napping is my favorite thing. That's my one indulgence. Napping and scotch. Those are like the 2 things. I like Johnny Walker Black Label Scotch, and I like napping. And maybe like in that order. That's my and then I like with the kids, we build rockets, we do electronics projects, we do art. That's what I like doing.
Cool. So.
And I exercise with Coach Kevin.
Yeah,
that's the other thing I do.
They say that the most successful people in the world exercise.
4 days a week, I do weightlifting with Coach Kevin.
Love it.
Yeah.
So some of NASDAQ themes are ambition, innovation. You're obviously super dialed into the millennial generation. If you had any advice you can give millennials, people that maybe even want to start their own company, or just the future generation, what would you give them?
I think your ideas have to be novel. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, it's sort of too late. And no good idea starts out as people telling you it's a good idea. Everybody starts out telling you every idea is bad and wrong, and some of those bad and wrong ideas become right, and some of those bad and wrong ideas stay bad and wrong, right?
Yeah.
But there's never a good idea that everybody tells you is a good idea. Like right now, I see a lot of people trying to skate to where the puck is. And that's very dangerous. I meet so many companies and startups who say, oh, we're trying to create the BuzzFeed of X, or the Uber of X, or the TaskRabbit of X. It's too late for that. You got to come up with an idea that is risky enough that it's different and no one else is kind of going after it. And that means it may or may not work, but I can guarantee you trying to copy what somebody else is doing is not going to work.
Right. Sink or swim, take risks. What do they say? Take risks. And if you don't take a risk, you're not living.
Yeah, and I think that when I meet young people sometimes, and look, I made every possible mistake you could make. I took jobs for the cash when I was younger. If you get out of school and you don't have, look, if you get out of school and you got a lot of debt, okay, you need to take a job to pay down that debt. Like,
sure.
I get that. If you get out of school and you're lucky enough not to have a lot of debt, and keep your overhead low, and take the job and the thing that you want that maybe makes you not as much money right now. I've got all sorts of crazy thoughts around college in general. I don't think people should I think a lot of people should not go to college, but you got to do what you want to do.
No college.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good use of time. I think if you want to be a scholar, you want to learn certain things. Look, I hired BuzzFeed. We'd hired 500 people by the time that I left, and now I've hired 20 people. I really don't know where any of them went to college. I don't care where any of them went to college. My right hand is a woman who started out as an intern with us. It was paying $10 an hour. She went on to run all branded content at BuzzFeed, and now is running kind of all business development and branded content. I mean, I don't know where Melissa went to college, you know? Right. I can never remember where Peter went to college. It was never a criteria for where I hire anybody. It's what have you done? You know, Ryan, who's a young guy who's building out all of our production and stuff, he just graduated, but I mean, it's totally irrelevant. I mean, what was amazing to us is he knew how to build this stuff. He knew how to wire this stuff. He had ideas he wanted to experiment. He had things he wanted to plug in. That's what it's about. Yeah,
different times. John, thank you so much for talking to us.
It's a blast. It's good being here.
No, oh my God, I love it. You're going to come back, right?
I mean, I feel like I'll have to wait to get to the rotation. You probably got a lot of people lined up.
Oh, lined up at the door, lined up out the door.
Yeah, good being at the Nasdaq today. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, sure. So thank you all for watching. I'm Elyse Southwell for Nasdaq Disruptors on Facebook Live. Thanks again. Good night.